Good morning and welcome to this morning's Queensborough President's Remote Land Use Public Hearing. This hearing is being live streamed on the link from the webpage of the Office of the Queensborough President at www.queensbp.org. Once again, www.queensbp.org. For those who wish to testify and haven't already pre-registered for speaking time, you may do so by visiting www.queensbp.org/land use. Let me give that to you again. If you have not pre-registered for speaking time, you may do so at this moment by visiting www.queensbp.org/land use. Please note your opportunity will speak. Your opportunity to speak will follow those who are pre-registered. Written testimony is welcome from those who are unable to testify remotely. All written testimony must be received by 5 p.m. today and may be submitted by email to planning@queensbp.org. Let me say that again. If you are planning to submit by email your testimony, you can submit it to planning@queensbp.org or by conventional mail sent to the Office of the Queensborough President at 120-55 Queens Boulevard, room 226, Kew Gardens, New York, 11424. Today, I'm joined by my planning director and staff, Irving Foy, Lisa Atkins, Victoria Garvey, and Vanessa Ordonez. Lisa, please review how this public hearing will proceed, and we will get started. Thank you all for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Borough President. The public hearing shall be conducted in the following manner. For each item, the applicant will be called to give a description of the zoning action requested, an explanation of the proposed project, and respond to any questions from the chair. The floor will then be opened for public testimony. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to state their position. A signal will be heard when 3 minutes have passed. When you are called, please state your name for the record, and if you are officially speaking as representative of an organization or member of a group, the calendar number of the application you are speaking about, and whether you are for or against the item. Then begin your testimony. Speakers will be called to testify in an alternating basis for and against that item. At the discretion of the chair, should there be a large number of speakers on any particular item, it may be put on second call. Thank you for your cooperation.
Okay, thank you so much. You've just been advised on the proceedings of this hearing and how it will be conducted. Please keep your comments focused on the application you are speaking about. Please stay within the allotted 3 minutes. When you hear the signal, please wrap up and finish your comments. The chair reserves the right to ask speakers for clarifications or further information regarding the application or comments. With that being said, Lisa, please call the first calendar item.
Yes, calendar item number 1, ULURP number 130254 MMQ. The applicant is New York City School Construction Authority, Affected Community Board number 4. Please begin.
Good morning, Borough President. My name is Gail Mandaro. I am the Senior Director of Government and Community Relations for the New York City School Construction Authority, and we are putting forth an application to demap a certain portion of 44th Avenue to conform with the as-built conditions of 2 of our school properties, PS 315 and IS 311, which were constructed in 2015 and 2016, respectively. The 2 schools are located in the Corona community along 44th Avenue between Junction Boulevard and National Street, approximately 6 blocks south of the MTA 7 train line and just north of the Long Island Railroad station. The 2 schools were constructed under the Department of Education's 5-year capital plan for fiscal years 2010 to 2014 to address the capacity needs identified at the primary and intermediary school level in District 24, specifically the Corona community. The schools were constructed on city-owned land, which included parts of 44th Avenue on the city map identified, but never built out as a street. Several other buildings constructed before the school's construction period are also built within the mapped and undeveloped portion of 44th Avenue. This city map amendment will reconfigure 44th Avenue to remove the street designation from the areas within which the schools and the other private buildings are located, and will conform the city map to the longstanding as-built existing conditions. I will tender any questions anybody may have regarding this application to correct the city map.
Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. Do you anticipate any traffic impacts doing this?
No, not at all. The street was never actually built. And it appears that, being that it was all city-owned land at one time when the schools were constructed, there had already been approximately 7 existing private buildings built into the roadways. So it really changes nothing. It's just correcting the map to conform to the real life conditions.
Okay, Irving, you have any questions you want to ask?
I just have one question. It looks like this application was filed in 2013. Why is it taking so long to come to public review?
My understanding is there was some, and it predates me, so I apologize. This is just information I've been able to garner from records. It would appear that there was some confusion as to whether or not the application was required, who was going to sponsor the application, and how to proceed with it. It was, I think the confusion lied from the fact that it was all city-owned property and jurisdiction had been transferred to the Department of Education. And based on the existing other buildings, there was a presumption that perhaps the application was not necessary and could just be corrected administratively. Once we determined that that was not the case, we put forth a formal application.
Thank you. That's my only question.
All right, do we have any other members of the public who wish to testify on this issue? All righty, seeing none, we will close this item. And Lisa, you can please call the next calendar item.
Thank you very much.
Calendar items number 2 and 3 are related items. ULURP number 200243ZMQ and ULURP number 200244ZRQ. The applicant is Phipps Houses. Affected Community Board number 2. Please begin.
I'm going to share my screen. So one moment, please.
Just a reminder, please introduce yourself for the record.
I will. I just want to get this set up. Good morning, Borough President and Borough Office staff. My name is Sarah Elmore, and I am the Director of Planning at Phipps Houses. And today I am joined by my colleagues, Michael Waldman, Kathy Pennington, Douglas Henow. And we're here today to discuss proposed zoning map amendment and zoning text amendment to facilitate the development containing affordable housing and community facility space at 5025 Barnett Avenue. In order to facilitate the proposed development, we are requesting a zoning map amendment to rezone the project site from M11 to R6A, and a zoning text amendment to establish a mandatory inclusionary housing area at the project site. Today this presentation is going to discuss the proposal, and then we are also going to discuss our plan to address some comments and concerns that were raised during the community board to public hearing on November 23rd. The proposed project site is located within the Sunnyside neighborhood of Community District 2 in Queens, on a block that is bounded by the Long Island Railroad right-of-way to the north, the prolongation of 52nd Street to the east, Barnett Avenue to the south, and the prolongation of 50th Street to the west. The site is currently zoned M11, which permits light industrial uses and community facility uses, but not residential uses. The surrounding area is predominantly characterized to the south with residential uses. The proposed project site is currently occupied by a surface parking lot with approximately 223 spaces. The site is fenced off and has no sidewalk, no active uses, and results in a streetscape that is uninviting and not friendly to pedestrians. The proposed development will consist of a mixed-use building, including 167 affordable housing units, approximately 5,323 square feet of community facility space, residential amenities, and approximately 6,000 square foot recreation terrace outside. The building will range in heights from 6 to 7 stories, and it will have 170 parking spaces, of which 111 of those will be made available for public use. In connection with the proposed development, we will also be providing streetscaping improvements, which include a 15-foot wide sidewalk with plantings and a double corridor of trees. The unit distribution of the proposed development will consist of a mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. And the affordability levels will consist of 15% of the units will be affordable to 40% of AMI, 15% of the units will be affordable to 50% of AMI, 15% of the units will be affordable to 60% of AMI, 15% of the units will be affordable to 70% of AMI, and the remaining 40% of units will be affordable to 90% of AMI. We would just like to note that the current affordability levels were reduced in to address concerns that the community board would like deeper affordability and members of the community would like deeper affordability. As you can see in this comparison slide, we had removed the 110% AMI income band and added a 70% of AMI income band and increased the number of 90% of AMI units. Here's just an image of the first floor plan, which shows the community facility space lobby and landscaped area on the western side. Here is an image of the second floor plan, which shows the residential amenities, which includes kids' room, laundry, lounge, multi-purpose room, and fitness room, as well as the 6,000 square foot recreation terrace. And here's just a typical floor plan. Here's a rendered image of the recreation terrace. Here is an image of the proposed development site looking northwest. Here's one looking northeast. Here's the site looking east on Barnett, as is. And here's one with the proposed development. Based on input that we received from the community regarding our 2016 proposal, we have reduced the height from 10 stories to 7 stories, increased the amount of community facility space, increased the amount of parking, have a commitment to use unionized maintenance staff, and have deepened the levels of affordability. As you can see, here is a comparison of the 2016 proposal to the current proposal, whereas previously 80% of all units were affordable to households at 100% of AMI or above, and the remaining 20% of units were affordable to households at 50% of AMI, whereas now 100% of the units are affordable at 90% of AMI or below. I'd like to briefly mention some of the recent improvements that have been made to the Phipps Sunnyside Garden Apartments. Since 2017, Phipps Houses has invested over $3 million for improvements to the Sunnyside Garden Apartments, including roof replacement and masonry work, garden upgrade and tree pruning, fire escape painting and repair, new signage, elevator cab renovation, lobby and painting, slate work, new furniture for a social hall, additional bike racks, and asphalt replacement. And Phipps Houses is planning to make additional capital improvements in 2021, including asphalt replacement, additional landscaping, slate work to repair pathways, tree pruning and planting, and improving the irrigation systems, and hallway painting. In response to comments and concerns raised during Community Board 2's public hearing, Phipps Houses also proposes the Sunnyside Garden Apartments Improvement Plan. The primary goals of the improvement plan would be to increase communication with the tenants association, focus on building maintenance by hiring a new porter, focusing on trash management and recycling, prioritizing routine cleaning of common areas, expanding exterminations services, which will include identifying root problems for persistent infestations, as well as inspecting and treating compactor rooms, elevator rooms, and storage areas. In response to comments from the community board, we will also provide annual tenant satisfaction surveys by a third party, and we will also attempt annual apartment inspections. Thank you very much for your time, and we'll address any questions you have.
Thank you. So let's go back through the affordability again of the project. If you can just take me through that again.
Certainly.
I think it's slide 17.
Sorry.
I think.
Here it is. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So the affordability for the current proposal, there will be 15% of the units will be affordable to the 40% of AMI formerly homeless. Another 15% would be affordable to 50% of AMI. Another 15 affordable to 60% of AMI. Another 15 available to 70% of AMI. And the remaining 40% affordable to 90% of AMI.
And go through the unit spread. I'm assuming you're using the mix and match program.
That's correct.
Okay. And you know, in terms of 1s, 2s, and 3s, are they spread evenly across, or how did you spread the units?
Michael, could you answer that question?
They're evenly distributed across all the income bands.
Okay. All right. Good. And you have that. Can you have that? Do you have a diagram with that? With the spread? I hear what you're saying, but I just want to see it.
I don't have a diagram in the presentation.
So, okay. So if you can get that to the office, that would be much appreciated. And has HPD committed to this subsidy already, or where are we at with HPD in terms of, you know, we have mix and match, but have they committed yet?
So we haven't submitted a formal application to HPD. Given the several months more of ULURP to come, we'll basically be doing the serious design of the building after ULURP, so that's probably a year worth of design and pre-development work, during which time we'll be talking to HPD about when we can slot into their financing pipeline. Everything here is by term sheet though, so this is a available mix and match option that doesn't require any discretionary accommodation, you know, on their part.
But this subject to change if HPD says they don't have subsidy?
Yes, everything is always subject to HPD telling us how much money they have and how they want to use it, particularly when we're working in a year that's the last year of an administration. This would presumably be funded sometime in the next administration. So we'll see what HPD has.
So if HPD is listening, we want to hear that this is being funded, so that these examples of the affordability, which are really good, a nice spread, are actually going to happen. So I look forward to further conversation on that. Let's go through, go through energy efficiency quick. In terms of climate change, obviously there are major impacts across our city. Are you using solar on the roof? What are your green energy features?
I believe we are planning to use solar. We will also abide by any of the building code requirements.
Believe, or we are?
We are. I mean, we have to abide by building code requirements. And Michael, can you confirm that we are using solar panels?
Yeah, there'll be solar on the roof. We do that on all of our current projects. And the new, the building code updates that are going into place now bring up energy efficiency another couple levels from where they were before. So this would be designed under those current guidelines. Those are the main things, enterprise green communities that HPD projects all have to comply with.
And we talked about community facility space, which I'm happy to hear. Are there any planned organizations you're working with? And then also going to, is there any open space? How much open space is allotted to the development?
Yeah, so the outdoor terrace that Sarah mentioned in the presentation is about 6,000 square feet. That's quite a large amount of outdoor space for a building of this size. So that's what we're doing on that point. On the community facility space, we haven't honed in on a particular user and a particular use yet. We've been kind of asking the question at each step in this process, whether people have types of services they'd like to see or groups that they specifically like to see. And we'll kind of absorb that as we progress. We're not planning on occupying the space with a Phipps agency, as we do in some of our other buildings, since this is a neighborhood where there are other local groups that provide great services. So we would talk to them as we progress.
And tell me about the rents for the space. Was it going to be market, or are you looking to do discounted space?
It definitely would be discounted. Generally, our community facility space like this carry a low kind of break-even rent of $10 or $15 a square foot, rather than any kind of market rent, because most of those kind of groups can't really, including us when we're on our social service side, can't afford market rent as a general matter.
And you'll obviously get this all to us in writing. Go through your jobs commitment. What does your local hiring look like?
We will follow local law 44, and we will also hire a small contractor that has a history of exceeding those hiring goals. So we are confident that they will be able to not only meet the goals, but exceed local hiring goals.
Now, what is the goal here?
The local law 44.
No, I know, but so I get local law 44, but did you set a minimum local hiring standard for the community? Are you working with any workforce organizations?
I mean, we aren't yet. We will be. I mean, again, because we haven't really fully designed the building, pending the results of this public input process, we haven't done those.
And then MWBE procurement, I mean, what is your percentage you're looking to set aside on that?
So I apologize. We don't have a number because of how early
That's all right.
we are on.
I want you to know these are the things that are important to us.
Understood.
So normally standard is somewhere around 30% minimum. So personally, I like to see at least a minimum of 30% local hire, 30% MWBE. And I would encourage you to look for some organizations that do workforce development that you can partner with on the local hire piece. So I'm going to look to hear a little bit more of that before we, in terms of us making a recommendation. But you should start to look for local organizations who could be helpful in making sure that local folks from the surrounding zip codes would have an opportunity of being hired here. And I think I've heard you have a commitment to good jobs on the site. You want to speak about that a little bit more?
Yeah, so we have a development agreement signed with 32BJ for the maintenance staff at the site.
Okay. That's very good. But I looking on the local hiring side, including construction, we want to hear a little bit more about a plan on that.
Okay.
And then take me through parking.
Sure. So we will be providing 170 parking spaces in the proposed development, and a number of those need to be reserved for the residents of the building. So the remaining 111 can be opened up for public use. And if the tenants are not interested in using their allotted parking spaces, we can open those up to members of the public as well.
Oh. Okay, I'm rounding out my questions. Irving, you haven't. Oh, sorry, I forgot to get to the most important part of this. So there've been some reported issues with the Sunnyside Garden apartments. Can you go through what actions have you taken or are you going to take to rectify these issues that we've heard? So I know that there is an improvement plan. Can you speak to what are some of the things you're looking to improve over the course of the next 90 days?
Certainly. So, as I mentioned, we have the Phipps improvement plan. We did meet with the Tenants Association to discuss on December 4th, I believe, And we discussed with them. We've incorporated feedback, and part of the plan is to hire an additional porter who will focus on trash management and routine cleaning. Also, we've deep cleaned the laundry room, which is one of the requests of the Tenants Association. That has been done, and it has been added to the porter's regular cleaning schedule to ensure that that space stays clean. Some of the other items are to have an exterminator come for the buildings that seem to have some issues with extermination, and request that the exterminator go to each of those buildings and each of those units and to see what the root problem is there. As well as, fixing some of the landscaping, having that on a regular basis, such as tree pruning and that sort of thing, as well as meeting with the Tenants Association on a regular monthly basis, and keeping them informed of the progress that's been made on the improvement plan. And those are some of the highlights of the plan.
Okay, and I would appreciate if you keep my office looped in. Lisa Atkins on my staff. We want to be
Certainly
included in any reports, and I would suggest monthly. I mean, as you said, you're going to be meeting with the Tenant Association, but we want to track these improvements. We do certainly support affordable housing, the need for deep affordable housing units for the formerly homeless, but we also want to make sure, even as we potentially support an application like this, that you're rectifying issues that currently exist in your specific development already. So I'm hoping we will continue, not hoping, we will continue this dialogue, and I want my office to be included in any discussions and improvements as we move forward. I will go to Irving if you have any questions.
No, I don't really have questions. The only thing I'd like to say is if the applicant could send a written response to the questions the borough president has asked, that would be appreciated.
Absolutely, no problem.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna call our first set of witnesses. I'm gonna start with Nick Berkowitz.
Thank you, Borough President Richards. I'm Nick Berkowitz. I'm a member of Community Board 2 and its Land Use Committee, but I'm here on my own behalf to speak in support of Item 2 and 3. I live down the street from the project. I'm speaking today not only in support of 5225 Barnett Avenue, but to ask for Borough Hall's support in holding Phipps Houses to their word. I specifically referenced the improvement plan that the applicant has offered today, as well as its specific terms outlined in Community Board 2's approval resolution. This plan and these terms, to which Phipps has agreed, are concessions resulting from this project's contentious public comment process. These included addressing severe rodent and mold issues, meeting with the Tenants Association, and others. These are aspects of being a good landlord, which not only reflect on their current property in my community, but their future one. With that said, I ask Borough Hall not only support this project, but to help hold Phipps to their word and to be a champion and watchdog of these terms throughout the rest of the city's approval process. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And you have our word. We will certainly do that. And I look forward to coming to tour the conditions as well and to watch this very closely. So you could hold us accountable here as well, but we're looking to make sure that your quality of life is good. And I always send this message to developers: you're going to have to come see us again. So you will have an application somewhere else. So make sure these issues are rectified before you come to see us with any other applications. So I want to thank you, Nick, for that. The next panelist I'll call is Cassandra Carrillo.
Good afternoon. My name is Cassie Carrillo, and I'm a representative of 32BJ and a constituent of Queens Community Board 2. I'm here on behalf of the 85,000 building service workers 32BJ represents in New York City to express our support for this rezoning. We are pleased that the developer of this project, Phipps Houses, has made a credible commitment to the prevailing wage for the future building service workers at this site. This new development will bring new good jobs and permanently affordable housing to Queens in a time we need them most. providing apartments at a range of prices for low-income, formerly homeless, and working-class families as we move forward from this pandemic and economic crisis is imperative to rebuilding New York City. This affordable housing and a commitment to good prevailing wage jobs will give opportunity for upward mobility, security, and dignity to working-class families. 32BJ supports responsible developers who invest in the communities where they build. 32BJ has more than 3,000 members who live or work in Community District 2, and we know that this development will continue to uphold the industry standard and provide opportunities for working families to thrive in Sunnyside. On behalf of 32BJ, I respectfully urge you to approve this project. Also, I'd like to say separately as a constituent of Community Board 2 that I support this project. Sunnyside is extremely expensive, and this is a really awesome project for the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony, Cassandra. We'll hear from the next panelist, Rosamond Giannoutsos. I think I got it right. Maybe I got it right. You'll correct me though.
You got it right. It's Rob.
I did. Whoa, not a bad morning. That must have been my shoveling this morning.
Well, something strong. Anyhow, I live about a half a block from this proposed project and across the street from the Phipps Sunnyside Gardens apartments, and I've been living there for 52 years, so I'm familiar with this situation, and I am a member of Community Board 2, but I'm speaking on my own behalf in support of this project, with the contingencies stated very articulately by my colleague Nick Berkowitz. So I won't repeat what he said, just to agree with it. I would like to ask or add one part. I'm concerned about the amount of parking in the proposed building, particularly because there's no specification about parking for bicycles and other micro mobility devices. And since we as a city want to promote non-vehicular travel when possible, it seems like that would be an important thing. And I wish some of those parking spaces could be converted over to parking for basically wheeled mobility, but non-vehicular wheeled mobility. That's the question. Basically, very much in support because of the desperate need for affordable housing and keeping these people, the Phipps people, to their word. And if they stay on track, then I'm in support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I agree with that. We should make sure there's some EV charging stations there as well. Electric vehicle charging stations, definitely some parking spaces, or not parking spaces, but bicycle space for cyclists. So yeah, I would hope Phipps is listening to that as well. Thank you so much for your testimony. We're now going to go to Matthew McGovern. Matthew McGovern. Maybe you're muted or you're here. Matthew McGovern. All righty. All right. Since he's not here, we'll move on to the next. Are there any other individuals testifying?
Matthew is in. If you can unmute yourself. Maybe he's having some trouble.
Matthew, unmute yourself. Are there any other individuals testifying on this item? All right, seeing none, we will close this here. Matthew, if you're having technical difficulty, I would suggest you submit your testimony by email, or you can mail it as well. All right, I'm going to close this particular hearing. I look forward to the work ahead. Phipps, look forward to hearing from you on many of the items we raised today. Thank you.
Thanks very much. We will respond.
All righty. Lisa, you can call the next item. Calendar.
Certainly. Calendar items number 4, 5, and 6 are related items. ULURP's number 21069 HNQ, 210070 ZMQ, and 210071 ZRQ. Affected Community Board number 14, the applicant may begin your testimony. I'm sorry, New York City Department of Housing Preservation and Development is the applicant. Please begin.
Morning. Thank you, Lisa. While the team gets the presentation up on the screen, I'll just have some quick opening remarks. So good morning, Borough President Richards, and to those in attendance for today's meeting. As stated, my name is Kevin Paris, and I'm from HPD, and I'm joined by our development partners for the Arvin East project, which is located in the Arvin and Edgemere communities of the Rockaway Peninsula. We are here to present a set of land use actions that will facilitate development of key portions of the Arvin East project. Arvin East will be developed in the area north of the boardwalk from Beach 32nd Street to Beach 56th Place. The actions under review are for the inclusion of the area known as the Nature Preserve into the UDAP area for the project, which will allow the city to fund its creation. Our other action as listed is the rezoning of an area within the development site into a mixed-use district, which will allow for the use of a microbrewery. These actions will help advance the intended plans for the Rockaways, continuing the 2003 vision to develop across the western, central, and eastern portions of the Arvin urban renewal area. The Arvin East proposal represents a vital step in completing that vision. We have seen significant change happening throughout the Rockaways in recent years, and this is stemming from real investment into the area. Arvin East represents the further transformation of the Eastern Rockaways, continuing the goals of making it an innovative and resilient community. I want to take a moment to turn this over to Sarah from the Arvin East development team to walk us through some of the project components, and we look forward to further engagement with everyone on this project. Sarah?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm Sarah Levinson. I'm representing Arvin East owners and with L&M Development Partners. I'm also joined this morning by my colleagues Spencer Orcus from L&M, Dylan Gibbs from L&M, Ira Lichtiger from the Bluestone Organization, Eric Bluestone from the Bluestone Organization, and Tom Freeland from Triangle Equities. My screen just stopped sharing, or can you still see my screen?
I think you need to.
It looks like it may have stopped.
Oh, that's really strange. I'm sorry, guys. Let's try that again. How about now?
Yes, we're good.
Okay. Sorry about that. I'm also joined by other agency colleagues from the Parks Department, Eric Peterson, Mitchell Loring. Mitchell, Eric, is there anyone else from the Parks Department joining us this morning?
I don't believe so.
Okay. And also joined by Douglas Adams from the Mayor's Office of Capital Projects. So as Kevin mentioned, we're focusing on two actions as it relates to a larger project between Beach 32nd and Beach 56th Place. The first action focuses on a UDAP, amending the UDAP area to include the Nature Preserve, which is from 44th to 56th. The other is a zoning map amendment, if you can see my hand, for a small area at the southern end of Beach 35th. Guys, I'm having some computer problems. Okay, here we go. So with regards to the Nature Preserve, we've been working very closely with the Parks Department over the past couple of years to restore this area between Beach 44th and Beach 56. The idea is to, like I said, restore and promote the native ecology, which is currently actually the area. The design process is currently ongoing, and we're hoping to start construction or the restoration in the spring of 2021. We've had numerous meetings with the local community and the community board regarding the restoration of the preserve. We've been working on enhancing the north-south connections from the Edgemere community to the boardwalk by the straightening of the pathways that you see at Beach 54th, Beach 2nd, Beach 47th, and this is Beach 44th. We're also working on providing lighting on the pathways that you're seeing highlighted in red on Beach 54th, Beach 47th, and Beach 44th Street. We're also working closely with the Parks Department to not only have this be an area of passive recreation, but to work on programming to really engage visitors in the local community as it relates to the preserve through social nodes, areas to sit down and enjoy the preserve, street furniture, places for children to go, and also interpretive signage that not only talks about the native ecology, but really speaks to what we think is very important, the history of the site, what was previously there, and also looking at ways for to really engage people from an active standpoint, whether this is how far you walked or fun other signs to engage in physical activity. Eric Mitchell, do you want to add anything on the preserve effort?
Just, definitely looking forward to having this property be part of Parks property collection, and being able to really maintain it, have it be in much better condition for the community, and really be an asset for folks who want a place to take a quiet walk or a jog, and also just be a more attractive and useful neighbor for the community who's been looking at this not very maintained site for quite a few years, and to enhance the safe access from the Edgefield neighborhood north of Rockaway Beach Boulevard down to the beach and boardwalk. And then we're also looking at ways to better engage and program the adjacent spaces on the boardwalk and on the sand, and look for year-round activities we can do there as well.
And I think the only thing I will add is that we are planning an accessory building just east on 44th Street, which will house a permanent space for the park rangers and another point of command. I believe currently the Parks Department is planning on staffing at least two full-time parks staff, along with an additional 2 seasonal staff workers to support the maintenance of the preserve. The ownership team will also be maintaining that building, and also will be providing additional maintenance support as it relates to the building across the street as well. So moving to the second action, which is the map amendment and text amendment associated with a brewing use at the south of 35th Street, which you can see with if you can see my hand right there. This is intended to be the permanent home of the Rockaway Brewing Company, where they will also be able to have their brewing operations. The brewing company will actually go through and give you a little bit more detail on their, what they're currently doing and what their visions are for this area. But just to give you a sense that they are a piece in a much bigger puzzle as it relates to the non-residential space in Auburn East. We have, over 300,000 square feet of non-residential space currently envisioned here. And I think there are multiple strategies that we're looking at from a non-residential standpoint. I think most importantly is, is supporting local services and local needs. There's currently not a lot of retail support services or retail services in this area. So it's really looking to the local community and saying, what do you need here? What would you like to see here? We'd like this to be a place where you can get your dry cleaning, where you can go to the drugstore, not have to go off the peninsula for your shopping, and a local bank. We're really interested in knowing what the local community would like, but at the same time, we're also looking to leverage the site to support local businesses and allow them to thrive. you know, really getting out there, working with local chambers of commerce and other groups to better understand what businesses are out there, what do they need, and how can we get them basically to the next level. So looking at just a schematic retail plan, we're looking at hopefully a mid-box retail store that's in red, which we know retail of this size is very difficult at this time, but we are going to try. The periwinkle color is ground floor commercial space. So some of the service uses that I was discussing as you move further south, as you're opening up onto one of the many open spaces in the project, is having more uses, whether it's cafes, coffee shops, things that really open up and interact with the outdoors is important to us. Which gets you down to the proposed brewery location that we were talking about. And across the street, we are holding a spot for a boutique hotel, a place that has year-round programming, catering facilities, a place for events, another local job creator, a place for people to stay who don't want to stay at JFK. And so we're hoping that will also support and continue the year-round activity in the area. And also this yellow is what we're holding a space for is concessions, similar to what you would see to further to the west on the boardwalk. We're doing it just north of the boardwalk, but a similar idea where it would be maybe 2 or 3 seasons, you know, smaller spaces, to really activate that area during the warmer months. And now I'm going to hand it over to Ethan Long from Rockaway Brewing Company.
Hello, thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. My name is Ethan Long. I'm one of the owners and founders of Rockaway Brewing Company. So this, you know, is a dream project that started over 10 years ago behind our bungalows on Beach 24th and 25th, just to give a little history of where we started. So, you know, we had a dream. We saw what people were doing in places like Portland, Oregon, and Seattle and San Diego on the West Coast, where small communities were open to craft brewing. Craft brewing has spread across the country. And as we started the brewery, we're now part of the, you know, National Brewers Association, the New York City Brewers Guild, and the State Brewers Guild, which have been great advocates for craft brewing in the state. Our ethos is a strong sense of sustainability, efficiency, and, you know, we try to be socially and environmentally conscious. Next slide, Sarah. Sarah, can you go to the next slide? Thank you. So, you know, we have 2 locations, one in Long Island City and one in Arvern at Beach 72nd Street. So here we're a seasonal craft selection of New York produced beer, and we also have a little bit of wine and kombucha, no hard liquor. So we've been open in this location for 5 years, staying open 7 days a week through the winter. Our goal was not to be just a seasonal business, but a kind of community hub. So through that, the character and conduct of our patrons have encouraged us to continue with this in an environment of enjoying beer, which is also science and education. And we've had zero incidents to date. We've had a very positive effect with our local community, and we've strived to employ diverse local staff with 20 employees currently. You know, our hope is to merge these 2 processes, you know, our manufacturing side and our tasting room side, into one destination. And right now we've had to, you know, make do with an old meatpacking plant and then an old EMS location. We'd like to create a new building where we can then increase what we do and expand upon it to create more jobs with apprenticeship programs, food, and both that with our brewing process. We have the manufacturing side, which we're talking about trying to be able to have both under one roof. As a community group, you know, we've done a number of projects. I think this was more during our community board discussions. We wanted to highlight some of the things we've done this year. You know, with COVID, we felt it was very important to do a food drive. So we started the Rockaway Food Initiative, which we went out, raised funds over $100,000 to feed our local community. So we, with that money, we provided fresh greens and farm produce and produced over 5,000 hot meals for CSAs to our community partners. So this is one of the programs that usually I have Marcus, my partner, speak about. He was instrumental in implementing this with our other employees since we had the space, and I'm very proud of how that came together. Next slide, Sarah. So currently, we have a food incubator. We have what we call brewery food, where we have pop-ups with wood-fired pizzas, range of different kind of interesting food, from ramen burgers to Mexican street food. All these people are often people from the community who are looking for an opportunity for a place to try their business out without having the overhead of implementing a brick and mortar. So our idea is that once we create our new space, we could have the Arvern Food Hall, where it allows us to showcase culinary talents from our local neighborhood. So it would be a destination for other people of the community to open a new business and feed off of what we create as a community. So I think together, it would be a good combination. One of the things we didn't do in our other presentations was, I think people have a question of what is manufacturing and brewing. And so to demystify it a little bit, I think we're not out there producing big plumes of coal smoke and other toxic chemicals. We're actually really low impact as manufacturing goes. It's I joke that we're yeast farmers, not brewers. So it's the yeast who is, if you look at our diagram here, usually we feed the yeast by giving them sugars from mashed grains, basically creating a tea. Once we've put the hops and boiled our wort into this tea, the yeast to go to town, creating alcohol and burping CO2 to carbonate the beer. So this diagram kind of, I hope, demystifies a little bit of the silent nature of our big stainless tanks creating beer.
So you beer drinkers, now you know how it's made.
Next slide, Sarah. So our goal is to create a sustainable and efficient and environmental, socially conscious business. So with new technologies, we're hoping to implement those into our new project. Currently, as I said, the yeast burp CO2. We'd like to create programs where we can capture and reuse that CO2 as opposed to it being released into the environment. Use that to carbonate our beer, use it for other processes. Obviously with our spent grain, we're looking to do composting programs and other green energy facilities coming from the new technologies that are emerging currently, if we're able to build in a new spot. Currently we've found creative ways of trying to be efficient. Usually when the boiling process, when we're finishing our boil, we have to go through a heat exchange. And instead of letting that water go down the drain, we use our heat exchangers to send that water back to our hot liquor tank, which is then, instead of heating 60-degree water to 200 degrees, we're heating 150-degree water back to boiling. So we're using less energy, and we're also, minor things, but we like to increase these on full scale. Right now we use our grain bags for beach cleanups. We practice recycling and cutting down on waste as much as possible. We try to do bike deliveries. So, our mindset has always been efficient and green. We'd like to then use that in the future of the new space, if we're allowed to build here. Amy pulled together for me, there's a great case study that she found from Charlotte, North Carolina. It shows that like a community hub, like a brewery, people are drawn to it, and it creates a stronger sense of community. So there's some nice studies out there showing the community effect of microbrews across the country. So, this is just one snippet, but it shows that people enjoy having something in their local community, such as craft brewing, which is not just a manufacturing facility. Usually, having the sense of transparency, if you can see where your beer is being produced, obviously that's why I showed you the other slide where it showed the brewing process, because I think some of the feedback we got was people being scared of what manufacturing meant. In this case, a lot of microbreweries, you can see the process right on the other side of the glass. It demystifies it. It creates the education of beer and the science of tasting it and what it means to be a locally sustaining business. So we find this it increases our community awareness. So on that note, I would like to say thank you for hearing us out. We're proud patrons of our spot in Rockaway, and would love to bring all elements to Beach 35th Street and be a helpful partner in the community. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is that it? That concludes your presentation?
So yeah, that concludes the presentation, and we're now available to take any comments or questions from anyone. That's on.
Thank you. Now, did you go through unit counts? So let's start with unit counts on the project.
Sure. So the project is anticipated to yield 1,650 units over, obviously not once, over a 10-year build horizon.
And do we have a breakdown of what the affordability will look like? And I know that there's also a proposal to do some home ownership on this, and I'm interested in the community land trust for sure. But what are we thinking in terms of the breakdown between home ownership and rentals?
Sure. So I guess starting more macro and breaking it down a little bit more, and Kevin, feel free to chime in at any time. So we're looking at, of the 1,650 units, 80% of that would be income restricted and 20% would be market rate. On a homeownership standpoint, we're anticipating 20%, or the market rate portion will be homeownership, and we are looking into providing homeownership opportunities as part of the affordable component as well, and going to be working with HPD on that front. From an income standpoint, Kevin, do you want to talk about the city's goals, or do you want me to launch in?
Yeah, so as it relates to the affordability for the affordable housing part of the project, we are looking at this as a project that's going to span a number of years. We are looking at this project happening in phases. Right now we are looking and working and negotiating with the development team for one of our current programs, looking at potentially a mix and match type of project or element for the first phase of the affordable housing project. But again, we are talking a couple of years off, and that target or goal, while that is the target and goal, we will be negotiating towards that effect until we get to the point where we're going to be closing on that project.
No, you can't break down. So you're phasing it, and you can't give a commitment on what the affordability will look like in the first phase, or at least a proposal.
So, right now we're looking at it falling in line with our mix and match term sheet for the first phase. So I can't remember what we were thinking would be the number of units in the first phase.
So I think the number of units in the first building is anywhere between 350 and 375. We are looking at a mix and match for that, which provides you with a broad range of affordability options, everywhere from formerly homeless up to moderate income. So I think that's what we're looking at to provide within that first project. So you'll probably see about 40% on the LIHTC side, maybe a little bit more, and then the balance being the moderate income.
Now, I don't like the word probably. I need to see a breakdown. HPD.
No, that's totally understood. We can provide you with some documentation for where we are currently in our conversations and discussions, but still understanding, as I'm sure you're aware, our term sheets do at times change as we get out, and the real first phase of this project is the nature preserve, and following the construction of that will be the housing.
I get that, and I appreciate that, but you know, something.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Eric, get me something. So we'll look. I look forward to hearing more about that. I, you know,
Sure.
unfortunately don't like to make assumptions or take assumptions.
Understood.
So I know the nature preserve will happen first. And this project is personal to me as someone who lived in Ocean Village, whose apartment faced this site every morning. I know it really well. so yeah. So all right, go into retail again. How much square footage of retail we talking here? All right, let's start with nature preserve actually. So we talked a lot about the nature preserve and access and amenities. Have we, and I know you said you're going to do some community visioning. Where are we at with that?
Sure. So on the community visioning front, we are hoping actually to make an announcement early next week for our first CAB meeting in February of 2021. Actually, I was reaching out to Serena for scheduling purposes, but we're looking at the third week in February, I believe, or for that meeting to start rolling up our sleeves on the visioning front.
Okay, and Parks Department is here. Let's talk about beach access. Tell me about how the community is going to have access to the beach, and what is the plan here? Eric.
Sorry,
Oh,
my phone was not doing what it was supposed to do. So we say, as you know, the first part of the Army Corps work, the first groins are going in 32 and 36 right now. So that will so we're hoping that we'll soon be able to have more of the beach in the 30s open for swimming, which we can do right now if we've got space. It's not in the plover protected zone and so on. So we're definitely looking at that. And with the other construction on the beach, we're hoping to shift additional lifeguard coverage to the middle section of the beach here, both the beach 32 shack and the beach 59 shack for the upcoming season. Obviously, some overall lifeguard staffing is dependent on how many people we can recruit. And as I'm sure everyone probably noticed, the lifeguard recruitment for 2021 season started 2 weeks ago. So cross your fingers, and if you know anyone who's a good swimmer, tell them to sign up, because the more guards we get, the more we can put in this section.
I don't want to cross my fingers on this one. There's been inequity in the distribution of lifeguards going back 30 years. So how we
I'm with you. I'm with you, Borough President.
So what is the Parks Department commitment to ensure that we actually have equity in the lifeguard distribution?
I can't commit to
you can't blame the Plovers for that one.
But definitely, I can commit to doing at least what we've done the last couple of years, and if we are able to do more, we will. But it's based on overall numbers.
I don't like the word "able." There's been inequity in the distribution of lifeguards going back 20, 30 years, and hold on, and because of that, you know, we're shortchanged, and people on the eastern portion are shortchanged in being able to access the water in a safe manner. So I'm looking forward to how the administration is going to fix this issue as we move along. This is not a question of we need more lifeguards. This is a question of equity.
Right. I'm anticipating that we'll be able to do much better.
Okay. I don't like anticipation. So I hope we get to a resolution on this. And whoever the next council person is, I'm going to work very closely with. So I want to see this resolved on this project. There's no way around it.
Technically, we can't commit to anything until we have a seasonal plan for the upcoming beach season fiscally. But that's a whole other conversation, as you know.
And let's also talk about the Parks Department getting more creative. There's a place called Venice Beach. There's there are beaches across the East Coast and West Coast that we can model. And even with piping plovers, why couldn't you put up volleyball nets? Why couldn't you make you know, why couldn't you get creative in the use of the beach, the waterfront that's not accessible because of the pipe and clovers? So I'm looking to see how creative. This doesn't take capital dollars to fix. So I'm hoping that you're going to come back through visioning with a real plan on how we can make as beautiful as, you know, they're trying to make Auburn East. If people can't use the beach, you know, the community can't use the beach. That's a problem. So we should find creative ways to utilize the sand.
Right. I mean, we're definitely looking, you know, we're kind of looking at what we can do in terms of fish and wildlife, in terms of the plover protected area, because obviously it's a federally federally approved uses. And we're already looking, you know, I'm already trying to source and figure out how to most efficiently purchase some sports equipment for the beach in that area, whether it be beach volleyball, beach soccer, et cetera. Because like you say, that's pretty easy and pretty inexpensive and could be popular.
Eric could pay for that. Can't the developers pay for that? They should want to. All righty.
I would think so.
That was just an idea. I don't know. I don't know if it's, you know, it's an idea.
31 gave a little bit of, I think it's recreation.
I'm sure the brewery would want that, right? You can have a beer and play volleyball.
I think it's certainly our interest intent to, around the 35th Street area, we would love to support a lot of active activity.
All right, you get where I'm going with that. All righty. Let's let's talk about job commitments on the construction side and retail side. I'm very appreciative of the brewery. How many jobs are we anticipating that come through the brewery?
Right now we're currently at 20. I would like to turn that to 45 or 50 if at all possible.
All right, and what's your plan to make sure that these opportunities go to local residents? And what's the percentage of these opportunities you're looking to go?
I would like it to be 100%. Obviously, it would be citywide, but I think we will focus first on our local community to develop our employment from the people that are in our neighborhood.
And you agree to do reporting on that? So I would love to see numbers, and normally the standard for us is a minimum of about 35% local hire. So I'm glad to hear you're saying 100%. We would want that in writing. And perhaps you should partner with some local community-based organizations who could help filter some of those opportunities to you.
Yes, Marcus has already reached out to a few, and we'll be as transparent as we can be on that front.
Right. Okay, I like things in writing. I like reporting. Eric knows that. Eric, you want to talk, or anybody want to talk about jobs and my standards on reporting and what are you looking to do on the job front?
So Eric, feel free. Do you want to take this one, Eric?
No, Sarah, you've got it. Would you start?
Okay, sure. So I think we are familiar with the 30% and the documentation. So we are going to be working towards that. We are working with, or planning to work with, a local coalition of organizations to assist us with the local hiring efforts. I think the goals aren't necessarily just from a short-term construction perspective as getting somebody out there for flagging, but really, since the project has a 10-year horizon, how do we take people who were local hires in the unskilled trades, and how do we give them, get them into more skilled jobs, or jobs that are more permanent in nature, so to speak. So I think we're looking at, from a construction standpoint, short-term and also long-term horizons, and how to assist on the local hiring front. We've already started meetings with the coalition, and we will continue to do so. On the retail or the service side, we are committed to working with 32BJ and providing 50% of the service jobs as it relates to the multifamily to local hires. So I think that's where we stand.
Great. And let's go through hotel, the boutique hotel, because we've been down this road many times in the Rockaways. And I think the community board actually wanted something in writing in terms of restricting this particular facility being turned over to DHS. So can you just speak about the strategy there, and have you committed to that?
I can speak for the development team, and again, Eric chime in, but I think the development team is committed to not having this use on the site and requiring it through whatever means we have control of to restrict a hotel operator to not have this be a hotel, and we are willing to write a letter to that front. Kevin, do you want to discuss the strategy from the city standpoint?
Sure. It was also, the city also does have the ability to put restrictions in our disposition documents, and we're looking into that for this to this effect for this project.
Okay, good. I'm looking forward to that. Go through. So in the original R&E's plan, it was a plan to widen Rockaway Boulevard. Am I right? I think it's Rockaway Boulevard. Right. Where are we at with that?
Edgemere Avenue.
Edgemere Avenue. Sorry, I had a senior moment. Oh, that's Eugene Fallick. No calling out. Edgemere Avenue, though. Good to see you, Eugene.
So the project footprint with regards to infrastructure currently, it encompasses 32nd to 38th Street, just north of development site. We've been working very closely with DOT on that road design and reconstruction, and it will be widened, in that area with construction to start hopefully in 2021. Kevin, do you want to talk about these efforts west of 38th Street? Great.
Correct. Yeah, and as mentioned as part of this presentation, the city would be funding the creation of the nature preserve. We are actually seeking additional funding, up to $2 million additional, to enable the development team to design the further widening of Edgemere Avenue from 38th all the way up to 62nd Street. We see this as like a vital first step to actually having this widening happening. The design is usually the first step, and then it enables DOT to secure what they need for the construction to happen. So we have that on the table as part of the project as well.
And the design is $2 million, but the cap to actually build it out is around $45 million, I think. Is that correct?
I don't know if that's the correct number. I know that's the number that was referenced. I don't have the exact number for what the cost of the construction would be on me right now. But yeah, the $2 million would be just for the design work of that.
Right. And the administration does understand that, traffic impacts are real. And,
yes.
Rockaways is growing, and we're going to look to see a firm commitment on the capital side.
Yes, we are aware.
All right. Okay. And then last two questions before we get to the public. So school seats, and also community facility space. So we had some initial conversations about a community center. What square footage are we at right now? And what conversations is the admin having, with SCA now in terms of schools and school seats? And, we go through this song and dance all the time when there's no money. But there was a school slated for the original plan, which was a much different plan. I do recognize, because it looked like 100% market plan before. This is a much different plan than what Bloomberg had. But I'm looking to hear, where we at with those items. And then the other thing is, in terms of healthcare, will there be opportunities? And I know we've done some initial calls with the city council before I left on finding opportunities to expand healthcare on storefronts or available community-based facilities. Where are we at with those discussions?
So on the community facility front, yes, we're holding a spot for a community center just south of the 36th Street train station and north of the existing PS 106 between 34th and 35th Street. Right now, the building hasn't been designed yet. I think we're holding between 17 and 18,000 square feet, but that doesn't preclude other community facility space throughout the development. I think we are planning on additional community facility space within the ground floors of some of the buildings as well. You mentioned health and healthcare. Health and wellness is a guiding principle and a very big goal of this project, and how to integrate those principles on a community planning basis. So I think we are absolutely excited and open to having those conversations, to having healthcare presence throughout the site. We know that there had been requests earlier in the process for a level 1 trauma center and things of that nature. We actually did go back and do some research on this, and it's our understanding that a determination has to be made at the state level, and I believe that the state is there is a process ongoing to currently look at the need assessment for this. But from the development team perspective, absent of a trauma center, whatever we can do to support local health and healthcare, we're absolutely open to doing.
Right. And I heard you say 17 to 18,000 square feet. I am looking for more square footage on that. So I think it's a nice start, but certainly we need some more work on that.
Okay.
All righty. I will be quiet and I'll just end. We talked about the CAB, the Community Advisory Board. So I look forward to that conversation. On the community center space, you should also, anticipate we want to see some community visioning on that as well. And it would be great if we had some local CVOs who could run it, or local organizations or local community members, so we can cross that road as we get through to it. But I just wanted to throw those things out. A lot more I want to say, but I will, in light of the time, get to the public. I'm going to start with Deneen Ferguson.
Wow, what an honor! I go first. I'm just ready to be like number 35 or whatever. Thank you. I gotta go shovel mommy's snow, so that's my next move. Thank you, Borough President Richards. Godspeed to you, sir. Thank you for your detailed questioning also, because it's very important. On behalf of the Far Rockaway Auburn Nonprofit Coalition, on behalf of Queens Recovery and Resiliency, on behalf of Auburn Church of God, on behalf of Deneen Ferguson, MWBE, we all support the Auburn East project. Major concern is that the local residents have input, buy-in, opportunities for our local businesses. These are all things that we shared, the local residents getting employment with L&M previously. The coalition has been having meetings ongoing. L&M has dialed us up, and we've been in ongoing meetings about the needs of the community. We're concerned about the infrastructure, the roads getting done, everything that's happening. We're keeping our hands in it, and we believe L&M has shown themselves good developers through the Auburn East project. We worked with them when they first took over. There've been a lot of issues there, but I think it's also fair to say that they've endeavored to address them. So we support the project, and we're looking forward to continued discussions and making sure that the developer carries out what they say they're going to carry out. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Deneen. All right, next we're going to go to Jacqueline Rogers. Jackie, she here? Unmute yourself.
Not here.
All right, she's not here. Okay. All right, next we'll go to Polly Walker. Polly Walker.
Not here.
All righty. All right, next we'll go to Eugene Fallick.
Morning, Donovan.
Good morning.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
I oppose the plan for most of the reasons that the community board enunciated. There are far too many apartments on the project. The community board asked for 2 travel lanes in each direction, plus parking. We know that DOT, wherever it's got more than one travel lane, has done whatever it could to close down the streets. It's imperative, as you well know, that we have 2 travel lanes in each direction. In other words, the street needs to be 6 lanes wide. They've deliberately handicapped people by putting the comfort stations at the far end so that handicapped people would have to walk an excessive distance to get to a comfort station. They've made the paths through there such that a police officer can't see down the path. Again, it seems to be planned to be a mugging site. And I don't know why we should pay to build mugging sites in the city. So I think that all of the objections that the community board enunciated have to be a condition of giving any city money for this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Eugene. Good to see you. We're going to go to Cassandra again. Carrillo. She's been with us all day, feels like. Cassandra?
She had to leave.
Oh, she had to leave. Okay, got it. All right, we'll go to Sam Fleischner. Sam? Fleischner. Sam? All right.
Please unmute yourself.
You just have to unmute yourself, Sam.
Let's go to the next one.
All righty, we'll go to Tiffany Long.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. So my name is Tiffany Long. I'm the volunteer coordinator for the Rockaway Avern Nonprofit Coalition, known as Frank. This statement is on behalf of the membership. Frank is in full support of the Avern East project as long as my apologies. As long as LM developers, their development team, and NYC agencies have sustainable plans to address the needs for infrastructure improvements and opportunities for our existing businesses, and livable wages, employment, and home ownership for qualified residents. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to Avern East project going.
Thank you so much. All right. Thank you for your testimony. Great to see you. I'm going to go to Alexis Fute. Did I say that right, Alexis? Fate. I got to get used to your new last name now. It was smaller before, but congratulations.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I'm Alexis. I am the founder of Edgemere Coalition Community Gardens. So I'm speaking on behalf of myself. I'm talking about calendar number 4, 5, and 6. And I'm testifying against Auburn East. I actually live in Auburn View, and I feel like Bluestone, Triangle Equity, and L&M did not do what they needed to do for us on this project, and I'm afraid that they won't do the same for Auburn East. The community needs a critical access hospital. We need entrepreneurship opportunities for low to moderate residents like myself. I feel about maybe 50% of the parking needs to go to Auburn View residents because Bluestone did not have not done what they needed to do with us. They have a lot of environmental justice issues, especially here in Auburn View. We have mold, we have rodents. Because they short-staffed us, it's hard to keep the the complex clean. I feel like it's unconstitutional and degrading how the residents here in Auburn View have to fight to get services. Not only that, I feel like the project needs to be revised for future situations because we have been in a pandemic. Things need to be made bigger for social distancing. In addition to that, I feel this needs to be a project that's slated towards agricultural and cultural arts. I believe that the home ownership on the land should be in a CLT, and it needs to be 100% affordable housing because they had slated a certain part to be 1,650 at 120% AMI, and that's not good. And I think in addition to the brewery, they need to also make space for future hemp growth. We cannot deny the fact that recreational marijuana may soon be legal in the States. And so entrepreneurs like myself and I should have a space on the property to grow. We need equity in that also. And I think L&M and Bluestone and Triangle Equity need to pay some form of reparations. with $60,000 for entrepreneurs that want to be on the space. And yes, a hospital, an educational facility, space for myself and others to grow hemp, to help with economic development. And once again, 100% home ownership. And it needs to be in the CLT after 10 years. And there is money coming. We need to stop pretending like Joe Biden and Vice President Harris aren't going into office. We need to stop pretending that Mackenzie Scott did not just donate millions of dollars to enterprise, and there's other money flowing that can do these projects here. Or even another thing, we need recreation. I understand you want to have a nature preserve, but the nature preserve needs to be cut back because the Pipers have all the space on this side. This side is where the Black and brown people live, and there's a lot of inadequacies, and the residents feel it, and they're going to be upset if they see the brewery and don't feel like they were welcome to be a part of it. Another thing is that there should be a movie theater out here. There should be a skate rink that is over the season, winter and summer. They're doing it in Prospect Park. And a lot of the hiring needs to be from people in this community. I heard a lot of residents say that they can't get jobs on Mott Avenue where they're doing a lot of construction. They call the number and no one gets back. I know a lot of residents that were on a lot of the projects for Bluestone here, and they did not get taken to the other projects. And there's a lot of infrastructure issues here in Auburn. I have a balcony, and when it rains and snows, the water comes into my apartment. So L&M and Bluestone and Triangle Equity need to go back to the drawing board and really make this a project of reparation, especially since we have really been feeling it since the pandemic. And I've been living in Rockaway for 16 years. And yes, Parks Department also has to work on their part too, because there's a lot of racial injustices within the Parks Department.
Okay.
And I've worked with Parks Department. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexis. And I want to, just make a subtle correction on the stuff on Mott Avenue. We get monthly reports on the local hiring, and they have hundreds of people from the Rockaways working on that site. So when people say that, we actually require reporting on it. So we know.
Oh, I can get you someone. I can definitely get you someone.
I mean, I'm not
trying to get on the project.
And one of the things I will say is you can't hire everybody on the peninsula, but we've made a strong effort on the Mott Avenue side, and I feel relatively good. There's always better we can do. But that's one of the reasons we require reporting, and we would require reporting from L&M and Bluestone. And I will say that to their credit, and I don't defend developers, but to their credit on jobs, whatever we've asked them to do on the reporting side in partnerships with local organizations, they've actually done that. L&M does have some work to do in Ocean Village or Auburn View now. A place where I lived. One of the things we've spoken to them about is even going back and fixing up, doing the facades over in some of the buildings outside. I don't know what's dripping on the panels. We need to fix those issues. So Alexis, as we move forward, I look forward to doubling back with the Tenants Association over there to find out what issues are outstanding there so that we can, just as we did on the prior application, make sure that those things are fixed. But I went and walked the site personally. I came to OV personally as this application was moving forward, because I wanted to see what was happening there now as we start to talk about a new application. So I know that there have been commitments. L&M has put some money on the table, I believe, to come back and fix some of the facades up. And I look forward to coming back on the mold and whatever other issues. But I do want to say, when you say that, we need to make sure we have itemized issues. What's the apartment? So we have all of that, the tedious information, so we can make sure we follow up with L&M. So my staff is on, Lisa Atkins is on, and we will follow up to make sure that those issues are being addressed. So I'm not here to pretend that L&M is perfect or any developer is perfect, but it's our job to hold them accountable as we move forward. But I do want to say that they've always taken a step in working to try to work with us to fix a lot of issues. So more work to be done, but I want to thank you for being here. All right, thank you. We're going to go to our next panelist, Molly Adams.
Thank you. I'm going to keep my video off to preserve my connection, so apologies. My name is Molly Adams, and I'm speaking on behalf of New York City Audubon in favor of supporting calendar item number 4 in order to secure funding for the proposed nature preserve as a forever wild sanctuary. Preserving green space in the Rockaways will benefit people and wildlife by providing opportunity for the community to connect to nature, as well as a safe habitat for migratory birds and a natural barrier against storm damage. New York City Audubon has been working with partners to protect birds in the Rockaways for over a decade and are committed to the conservation of beach nesting birds in front of the Auburn East project. Areas like the Rockaways that are important for wildlife are even more important for us. And when you protect birds and habitat, you protect people. During the COVID crisis, residents have relied on city parks to maintain their mental and physical health. This nature preserve will build community by offering new jobs, a place for students to learn about science and conservation, and somewhere that families can spend time together outside. Footpaths that exclude persistent nocturnal lighting, vehicles, and dogs will safeguard the habitat and secure its benefits, including protection against flooding. A proper preserve will act as a home to wildlife, sanctuary for people, and serve as a necessary natural barrier to protect against future hurricane damage. Thank you so much for letting me share our thoughts.
Thank you so much. All right, we'll go to Kevin Alexander, I believe, has testimony.
Yes, I do. Good morning, Borough President, Queensborough President Richards. I got to get used to saying that now, right? So if I make a mistake, I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
Thank you so much, and good morning to everyone. As the oldest, one of the oldest organizations and probably the largest community-based organization in the Rockaways, we are supportive of the zoning amendments that are on the table for the Auburn East project so that we can get the zoning change, that we can expand the Rockaway Brewery Company. We think it's a great opportunity, not just for front-end jobs, but I'm sort of fascinated by the whole brewmaster concept. We think that's really exciting because a lot of our youth don't know that opportunities exist beyond just the front-end work. So there's a career pathway, and Rockaway Brewery Company we have spoken with. They are Rockaronians now, and they're based here. So we think that's a great thing for this project. We're also excited about the nature preserve, or AKA the Piping Plover Reserve. We think that launching that part of the Auburn East project, it's a good, strong way to get this project started. It's another way of connecting central, western, and eastern areas of the peninsula and pushing the Parks Department again to increase capacity for lifeguards in those areas that have been neglected for decades. So that's all part of an overall strategy in terms of economic and community economic development that we support. We're also excited by the possibilities that can become opportunities for not just temporary construction jobs, but as our prime and our subcontractors go to other jobs, because Triangle L&M and I forgot somebody else in their Bluestone have a lot of projects going on. We want our residents moving on those projects with them. So it's not just temporary jobs, it's moving with them on a career pathway. We also think that for local businesses that can do goods and services, we think that both primes, the GC and the subs can purchase locally. That's one. And then two, we have a subset of MWBEs that can supply and service those projects as well. There has to be a commitment from them as well. And we have spoken with the Auburn East team about those subjects in terms of knowing the Rockaways, knowing the entire business community in CB14, we can point them in the right direction if they do not know. But they seem to be willing to do so in terms of engagement. So those are possibilities that should turn into opportunities. We like the fact that there is community space, but we agree there could be more community space, and whoever they decide or was decided upon should be a local operator that has experience, because we're boots on the ground. And when I say we're both a founding member of Frank, and also as RDRC serving the entire CB14 district. We think that, and finally, this project, and I did like the fact that there is home ownership on the table now. That's something that we want to see as a HUD certified housing counseling agency, is one of the things we do. We do promote home ownership across the board, and we've done it with NYCHA residents. So there's no reason why we couldn't do it with this project as well. So between an organization like RDRC, there's another Margaret Community Development Corporation that does a lot of housing work as well. There are neighborhood-based organizations that can assist you in this home ownership process. I will say this before I sort of leave. We worked really hard with Auburn by the Sea as the Empire Zone coordinator that resulted in Stop and Shop coming to the Rockaways. We put a big package with the city and state together And those are some of the things that we do as RDRC. So it's not about the relationship or doing business on workforce or whatever else as RDRC. It's really being an advocate for the community and making certain that what Auburn East, in terms of this development team says they're going to do, that they execute it throughout the life of the project. And as a stakeholder, that will be something that we're going to be watching for, that if you say it, it commits in writing and it gets done. So with that being stated, we are strongly in favor of these zoning amendments going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. Next, we'll hear from, what did I do? Is Sam Fleischner again? Are you back? Sam.
Yeah.
All righty, here we go. Now we hear you. You may proceed.
All right. Hello. Thanks for taking my call. I just had a few words I wanted to share in regards to the brewery. I live on 92nd Street and have been going to the brewery since they've been here. For me, it's been a really important community hub. And I'm really excited to think about how they can establish themselves in this Auburn East project. I really think it'll be great to see that part of the peninsula come to life. And I run a nonprofit in Rockaway. It's a Rockaway Film Festival. It's been around for a few years, and this past year, we're a little bit nomadic. I mean, part of what one of my dreams in Rockaway is to see a small independent movie theater be here, and we've done screenings all around, and most recently at the brewery. And I just wanted to say that working with Ethan and other people from the brewery, I just want to attest that I think they really have the best interest of the community, and I'm always struck by what a kind of vibrant and diverse group of people are at the brewery, and I think that's just because that they've prioritized that being a community place where everybody feels welcome, and yeah, so I just wanted to chime in and voice my support as a community member for the brewery, and that's all. Thanks for hearing me out.
Is the beer good?
The beer is good. Yeah, there's some great beers.
I think I had a Blue Moon once there, but I am.
Oh, you didn't have a Blue Moon there.
I had something.
Something like it.
Yeah, something like it. But I do want to thank Ethan and their commitment during this pandemic. Notably, you've helped out and assisted the community in big ways in feeding people who are underprivileged right now, who are struggling. So I do recognize that the brewery has definitely made an effort to be a good partner here, and look forward to the work ahead with them. All righty, so everybody's pretty much got a gist of where we're at today. Irving, I don't know if you had any questions or comments or concerns before I close this out.
None.
All right, that means I did a good job today.
Always.
So I look forward to the work ahead, and I will say that it's been a as good of a relationship we could have with all the partners on this project thus far, with the specific developments that they've done on the peninsula. So we expect for that to continue as long as we can resolve a lot of these outstanding issues. So the onus will be on all of you to come back to us with many of the issues raised today and some firm commitments. With that being said, I want to thank everyone for attending this hearing today. Our next hearing will be Thursday, January 14th at 10:30. Our next land use hearing, Thursday, January 14th at 10:30 a.m. I want to thank everybody for attending, and we look forward to the work ahead. Stay safe, mask up, socially distance. Don't do these gatherings.